Kuzuzeng pola. Greetings to all on this lovely morning. It is indeed an honor to be here and in such intellectual, insightful, and enthusiastic company. I am thankful to the Aspen International Mountain Foundation for including me in their delegation. I am also grateful to Colorado Mountain College, my current place of employment, for allowing me to come as its representative and tell its story of happiness. Thank you so very much to the Royal Kingdom of Bhutan and its people for opening up its landscape to bring together many who want to see a significant change come forward for the world. What a special experience to be here. For Bhutan to innately provide such a platform for dialogue, inquiry, and future projections is a true gift to the movement of positivity and transformative thinking. I'll begin with a focus on the term sustainability so that we may ground ourselves in a common language and understanding. Sustainability is about the integrity of the natural world, community building across various spectrums, and strengthening political economic agency. These can all resonate together through a lens of fairness for both the human and the non-human. It is a pathway toward justice. This means that sustainability can be envisioned as an interfield, intergenerational, interspecies, international, interconnected, and interdisciplinary. Presently, it is also seen as a kind of interference and interruption, meddling with the business-as-usual approach that much of the world has grown so accustomed to. Bhutan's fourth king and subsequent royal and civil leaders have reminded the world that simply because we have adapted to a particular model as convention does not mean it must remain so. We have the capacity to build something better, less exploitative, more inclusive. We find ourselves in the place that gave new depth of meaning to happiness and showcased its viability as an applied concept and reflective way of life. I like to think of happiness as the peace within us, peace with how we are in the world, peace with who we are, peace with what we have, and peace with not necessarily understanding all of the reasons why. This presentation is about linking sustainability and happiness, or in other words, seeing the interplays and potentials of justice and peace as they may serve as an effective lens for business. When we combine sustainability, justice, and happiness, peace, we find that we end up working toward economic egalitarianism, flourishing societies, and a gentler ecological relationship, all under culturally appropriate, non-oppressive leadership. So much of this is embedded in the G&H model here in Bhutan, and because at its core it is about a more harmonious existence, it can be applied elsewhere as long as we are open to the beauty of these alternative frameworks. Business comes from the term busy. That which kept us busy was our busyness or business. I feel fortunate to be kept busy in my workplace teaching about sustainability. At CMC, Colorado Mountain College, I teach in a bachelor's program where I get to work with students who want to change the world. It often feels idealistic or romantic to speak in such a way, but Bhutan reminds us that these are societal constructions after all. If we can construct a political economic system, like capitalism and its neoclassical, neoliberal extensions, and realize how they have failed to provide well-being for the majority of the world and removed basic human rights from many people, then let us construct a new ideal instead. Yesterday, His Excellency, the Prime Minister, noted that 3 conditions need to be met in order to see a change toward a G&H global society. Those are leadership, education, and framework. Colorado Mountain College seems a place where these 3 areas are beginning to thrive in conjunction with one another. CMC has always had a strong community-driven ethic. However, I have witnessed a consistent, expansive pattern in CMC's contributions to happiness since the implementation of the Sustainability Studies program. Although there are always moments of ebb and flow, CMC's decision to remain open and allow a permeable boundary to exist between the academic program and the operations of the institution itself has been exciting to observe. This permeability has had positive implications for the college, its faculty and staff, its students, and its surrounding community. CMC is a multi-campus structure of 11 sites spread out over 31,000 square kilometers in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. Here are some of the images of our landscapes and buildings. Truly mountain life, mountain learning, and locally sourced education, as some of our mottos state. In general, institutions of higher education fall under a distinct business model due to their need to serve a multiple set of objectives. Community colleges, like CMC, serve students ranging from credit-seeking to non-credit, bachelor's and associates, community academic partners, donors, local businesses, and as a public entity, any local taxpayer, as well as the college employees. Each of those groups has their own interest in the college, so the college has to be very adaptable and multivariate in how it creates and maintains strong, long-lasting relationships. Community partners are served through our career and technical programs, firefighting, wilderness mountain rescue, culinary arts, natural resource management, to name a few. All have to align with the surrounding industries, like the U.S. Forest Service, local hospitals, to ensure CMC provides the skill sets they're seeking from our students in order to usher them into secure employment opportunities. Many of our certificate programs have stemmed from the same kind of community dialogue and integration: permaculture design certificate, Spanish language, public lands stewardship, and sustainability leadership certificates. These relationships have also proven to be about trust. Our English as a second language faculty, one we're fortunate to have here with us, chairing a session later in the day, have established an incredible rapport with our immigrant community. These are often individuals feeling vulnerable, disenfranchised, and sometimes suffering from a loss of identity due to their transition out of their place of origin to a new home place. CMC has intentionally created a safe place for those both documented and undocumented to come and explore cultural linguistic integration in a secure, non-impositional way. As with any business, resource allocation is a key factor with any of the programs that CMC offers, and our leadership at each of the campuses has to know what the community needs are, what the student needs are, and how best to distribute resources across faculty staff programs for academic and institutional success. Such decision-making is done in an effort to increase the social capital of the college community interface, as well as strengthen efforts to lessen the burden on the surrounding nature, or natural capital, that much of the eco-resort recreational local tourism is so dependent upon. I'd like to give you a short tour of how sustainability and happiness have fused under the umbrella that is CMC. So let us return to the Prime Minister's 3 requirements for successful implementation. We'll begin with leadership. The governance at Colorado Mountain College is locally controlled, property tax supported, and it's governed by a 7-member elected board of trustees. The advisory boards for our academic programs are chosen by faculty and deans, and again are based on program needs. College is not free in the United States, unfortunately, but CMC is the 3rd most affordable public college in the United States, and it serves over 20,000 students annually. I want to give you a sense of the mission, the vision, the purpose, and signature learning outcomes of the college so that you can really see and glean a sense of how we approach things academically. Wait, I went the wrong way. There we go. Here's our vision. We aspire to be the most inclusive and innovative student-centered college in the nation, elevating the economic, social, cultural, and environmental vitality of our beautiful Rocky Mountain communities. It's actually quite rare to see a vision statement of a college or university incorporate all of these different components. CMC, and these are a little bit smaller, but I just again want to give you a sense of the kind of the mission and purpose as well, and I'll just highlight a few. High quality education, affordable, accessible, thinking about that vitality of the communities that we serve, responsibility and accountability, very clear on the notion of public trust, stewardship, transparency, higher education and lifelong learning, notions of civility, dignity, and respect in our treatment of our students and our community members, open, honest communication, honoring diverse ideas and opinions, really hoping to foster that intellectual discord that takes place in the classroom, embracing diversity in its many forms, and working actively to create an inclusive college community. And then acting with integrity to build those relationships. The second condition that the Prime Minister mentioned is education. The CMC educational model aims to empower individuals, foster empathy, and create meaningful and memorable engagement. These E's of education align well with the 4 pillars of GNH and are showcased through the courses and the institutional action at the college. To make it even more accessible, barriers for students who are also parents have been removed by the implementation of our Kids College at both the Aspen and Vail locations. While students who are guardians of young children are in class, they can drop their little ones off in a classroom on campus under the watchful care of early childhood, elementary, and middle school teachers. There are 2 rooms, one for 3 to 6-year-olds and one for 7 to 12-year-olds. This is offered at no cost to the student. It has made an incredible difference in the lives of these students to be able to come to class and have free childcare options on campus with them. The fact that the college chose to designate a portion of its funds to such a social service is an instrumental component of its socio-cultural sensitivities. It could have done any number of things with those funds, but decided to allocate it to increase student success directly. Formal education is more accessible as a result. There has been an informal infusion of sustainability concepts across CMC's curriculum, and we are working toward formalizing this process all the more. Important topics such as poverty alleviation, overconsumption, food justice, fair trade, and discrimination have all become topics of our Common Reader initiative. This is where faculty are encouraged to read a common text across different classes and look at the information through the lens of that particular field or discipline. The students then get exposure to multiple viewpoints on the same material. Here are some highlights from our Sustainability Studies degree. I'd like to highlight a few of the classes and just give you a little window in to some of the material that we cover in those courses. Systems Thinking and Sustainability is a course where students really learn about transdisciplinarity, problem solving, and the notion of interconnectedness and interdependence in our globalized world. A course like Integrating Sustainability Science really focuses on policy frameworks, the credibility and validity of science, and the distinctions between science that's based on an industrial framework and for industry versus independent scientific research. And it also showcases the strides that citizen science has made.
2.5 minutes, please.
How much?
2.5 minutes.
2.5. I might want to borrow some of the extra minutes these guys had, but I'll be quick. Sustainable economics, where we really look at the prefix eco and say, okay, ecology and economics share a prefix. If we look at the word eco, it's from the Greek oikos, and it means home. And in order to pull from the ecological economists themselves, in order for an economist to really be able to manage that home well, they actually have to know and study it. So any economist, according to some of our ecological economics or sustainability economic frameworks, economists have to be ecologists first before they can manage those natural resources. We talk about microfinance, Fincam, FIARE out of Latin America, ethical finance institutions like Triodos Bank, run by Peter Blom in the Netherlands, ethical markets from Hazel Henderson in the UK, E.F. Schumacher's Buddhist economics from the 1970s, and lots of other things, of course. Courses like leadership, ethics, and social responsibility, community engagement, the civic muscle, ecology and sustainability, conservation biology, having students reconnect with landscape, learning how to avoid creating conservation refugees from our preservation practices, unlearning the logos from advertising and relearning the land is really an effort there. And in our cultural and place-based equity course in our sustainable food sheds class, we learn about Ken Saro-Wiwa of the Niger Delta. We learn about Arundhati Roy, Noam Chomsky, Howard Zinn, Wangari Maathai and her Greenbelt movement, and the wonderful leaders on food justice, Vandana Shiva and Winona LaDuke, to name a few. So our students, as a result of some of those food sheds courses, have created a community garden at the campus, have put forward proposals for greenhouses, and 2 of our campuses have implemented and built those successfully for coursework. And we also have one of our campuses at the Rifle site that has an edible landscape. So there's really a lot that students are working on, transitioning that classroom moment out into practice with converting the institution to something they're studying in class. Is that it?
You can have 1 more minute.
Thank you. And so there's lots and lots of things I'd like to mention. Bethlehem Tillahum Alemu, Fabio Chavez, the Land Philharmonic, so many inspiring people doing such inspiring work out in the world. The third is frameworks, and I'll just briefly go down the roll here. Scholarships for students, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiative, where we actually require students to take a course of that nature prior to graduation. We have categorized certain courses in that respect. We have a strategic plan that directly links sustainability. We've been certified actively green, received the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education rewards as well. We've signed on to the President's climate commitment, and we just received a Green Ribbon School Award, only one of 9 schools nationally, and the only one in the state of Colorado to receive such a recognition. And we're also part of the Climate Action Plan in Eagle County, Colorado, to work on climate justice initiatives. And this is the last little bit here. Thank you. If we are to confront the multifaceted challenges of the world, we must do so with a spirit of service, a strength of resiliency, and a focus on the community. CMC is just a small representation of what a merging of G&H principles and sustainability action can look like. I believe that such a merging is the beginning of a new, authentic ethic for the business world. Ultimately, what business entities must remember, and what community colleges are constantly reminded of through their daily practice, is that as much as we may try to detach or externalize business operations from societal consequence, businesses do not exist in isolation, but rather in the context of their surrounding socio-cultural, political, and natural communities. To share some final closing thoughts, like 6 sentences and we're done. I have faith that what we call human nature is not the greedy, competitive consumer individual, but instead that negative concept is a manifestation of humans' lack of nature. Our human nature is indeed full of altruisms, spiritualities, cooperations, and loves. There is mindful power in these qualities. It is not because of the moments of violence in our global history that we have persevered, even though our written accounts often highlight those as significant. Instead, it is the peace of the human collective that has given us the true constancy of survival and thrivability. We will find our way again as a humanity so that this can become the dominant mainstream way of life. We will continue to give credit to Bhutan's G&H of peace and sustainability's lens of justice, creating livelihoods that give us a renewed, re-envisioned sense of what should be the busyness of our daily lives. Thank you for your time. Kadin Chela.